Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is Mother Pear. I create family lifestyle content once a week. So if this is something that you enjoy, please consider subscribing. And without further ado, let's get into the video. I thought I'm going to share with you my birth story. Just very briefly, I just want to touch upon my pregnancy, which thankfully was really good. I was really lucky. I didn't really have any nausea, didn't really have any sickness. So it was all just really good. And when I gave birth, I actually really missed being pregnant. Does this ever happen? Did this happen to you? Let me know. I went on maternity leave a week before Luna was born, which was 11th of May, and she was actually born on her due date. I tried to keep myself busy and occupied with things. Of course, I couldn't really relax very well. And I did go to the gym and do a bit of exercising. On Thursday, must have been the 9th of May, I went to the swimming pool, which I highly recommend to new pregnant mums because it was just amazing. I felt so light, and I don't know if this what made me go into labor, but when I came back home, I thought I had some wetness in my pants. I actually thought I peed myself, but the leaking continued throughout the whole day, so I realized my waters must have been broken. I spent the whole Thursday and the whole Friday on my exercising ball, hoping to just make things go smoother and make things go faster. I called the hospital on Friday, who then told me I have to come in to triage and get myself checked. So at 6 o'clock in the evening, when my partner came back home after work, after working the whole day without dinner, we straight away went to the hospital, where unfortunately we had to wait for 2 hours in triage. And if you've ever been there, it's just really not a nice, it's very uncomfortable place to be. So if you can delay going to triage, do so. After 2 hours, we've been checked by a midwife. And she did say my waters had been broken, and because the water's been broken for over 24 hours, we had to be admitted to the hospital. They then took us to this place, this room, I have no idea what's it called. There's a waiting room or something where all the expectant mums are there. However, they're just not yet ready to go to the birthing suite or the labor ward. Maybe they haven't dilated enough, or for whatever reason. We were there probably for about 2 to 3 hours, very hungry. Eventually we did get some food, but it's, again, that area is just very uncomfortable to be in, because obviously you hear the other mums contracting, you know, being in pain, complaining, all sort of things, and you just cannot rest. Obviously you are also contracting. So luckily we only stayed there for, must have been 2-3 hours, and eventually we were taken to our labor room. Now I wanted a water birth, however I had to be induced because my water's been broken for such a long time. I couldn't go in the birthing suit to have my baby in the water. With the induction drugs, the doctor recommended to have the epidural, which by that point, you know, I didn't really question anything. I just went along. I thought, yes, I'll do this. It's okay. I was obviously just not really thinking clearly. You just forget all those things. You just completely forget about it. I think the only thing that I remembered to do, well, Jack actually reminded me, was to just listen to some calming music, which I actually enjoyed, so I do recommend that. So at about 3 o'clock at night, I got my epidural, which was a very uncomfortable procedure because I had this crazy shivers. I just couldn't stop shivering, whereas you have to be still when you are getting your epidural. So it was a bit challenging, but once I got that, and about an hour or two later, I got the drugs to induce my labor. However, nothing really was happening for a very, very long time. And when they came to check me, they did a vaginal check, which is so uncomfortable. Even on epidural, you can still feel it, and you can say no to them, and I would highly recommend to either delay them or don't have them every 2 or 4 hours, trying to spread them out if you feel like you need them. They're just very uncomfortable, and they can definitely slow down the labor, which could have been the cause in my case, because when they checked me, I was maximum 4 centimeters dilated, and the baby's heart rate was going down, and they decided that I needed emergency C-section. What I wanted also to say that I was 4 centimeters dilated maximum, but even with epidural, I could still feel contractions. I don't think I was using the full power of epidural, but you can still feel it. And obviously you can still feel the pain and when you're contracting it and everything. The doctor said that I needed an emergency C-section, and from then on it went bam, 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 very quickly. Luna was born at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon by emergency C-section, and when they pulled her out, she was actually sleeping, and she cried for a couple of seconds and then she fell back asleep, which was really cute. And Jack was the first one to hold her. She was about 3.3 kilos, which is quite a small baby. I did hand her to me, I think, or they brought her closer to me. So I saw her cute little squishy face. But the whole C-section procedure was really quick. I think it must have taken us maybe about half an hour, because it was so quickly. It was just bam, 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 bam. After that, they took me to the recovery room. I think I must have been there for maybe 2 hours. They gave Luna to me, but by that point I was really exhausted, and I think the drugs must have mixed up with everything. I was feeling quite sick and I couldn't really hold her. She was so little, but my hands were just like slipping down. So I actually didn't properly hold her until later that night. And eventually we were taken to our room, where we met our family, who then hold the baby while I think I must have going in and out of sleep. I was totally exhausted. And before our family left, I felt so sick. I was puking, so Jack had to sort of help me and change the baby, help the baby. It must have been quite scary for him. The first 2 hours all alone, all 3 of us, must have been quite scary for him. But thankfully the second half of the night I felt a lot better, so I was able to breastfeed her, which thankfully it went so smoothly for us. It was really good. She had this amazing latch, and she spent on my boob the whole night. And in the morning I really felt like a new woman. I was able to walk, and so they discharged us later that day, which must have been Sunday, the 12th of May. We went home at about 6 o'clock in the evening. So here it is. Here is my birth story. I really hope that you liked it and you found it informative. And if this is the kind of content you enjoy, please consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye. I'm really sorry this went so quickly, but actually after a whole year it's very difficult to remember every single detail. But here are some pictures from my birth. They're the only pictures I've taken.